Hey guys, I am back now with another video. I'm back with another backlist video, and this time we're going to be talking about the culmination of everything. And we are talking about that one because I am very soon, very soon, going to be releasing the second book in this series, in the Sugar Valley series. And so, what better time to talk about this one than now? I said all those soones with such confidence, like the book is actually finished. But anyway, this time I know with the last one, I really tried my best to avoid spoilers. I do think that this video is going to have a few more spoilers just so that I can talk about certain elements that I have now discovered are going to just be present in the Sugar Valley series. And the most prevalent, I think, is this undercurrent of grief that's going to be happening in every one of these books. This undercurrent of exploration of how grief can manifest itself in different ways, and just the different ways that it can kind of weigh on us through the characters. But culmination of everything. If you have not read that yet, yeah, I'm gonna be giving. There's gonna be some spoilers, but I'll try to keep it. I'll try not to. We'll try to not make it too bad. But the culmination of everything, we have Kyle, who is the heroine. She shows up in Sugar Valley, and she just needs something different. She's looking for something new. She's looking to just to try something else so that she can overcome this overwhelming grief that she has been going through. And she arrives in Sugar Valley, and one of the first things that one of the first things that happens to her lands her in the clinic at Sugar Valley. And then through just a different series of events, she ends up connected with Ben. Ben is one of the first people that she interacts with in Sugar Valley. I'm sorry, I was trying to think the word. But Ben is one of the first people that she interacts with in Sugar Valley. And Ben is the hero. Ben is so grumpy. Ben is so grumpy and so mean and so just he's going through some grief himself. And for him it has, certain ways that it manifests for him as well, even though I mean he just is who he is, but part of it also is some grief manifesting for him as well. And so yeah, this book was not, when I wrote this, or when I started writing it, it is not what I this was not what I thought it was going to be. I didn't think that it was going to be this book with this really kind of melancholy undercurrent to it. I wasn't expecting that. Like, I knew that I knew what the heroine was going through. Like, I knew that she had this really devastating thing that had happened in her life, but the way that it ended up just really kind of immersing myself in Kyle's story and just doing this exploration of how she is kind of coming into her own again and having to really reinvent herself and kind of trying to carve out this completely new life for herself. I don't know, like it ended up being a little heavier and a little darker. Not dark. I wouldn't call it dark, but it definitely ended up being a little heavier than I expected it to be. So the culmination of everything was another one of those projects where I really tried my best to let it stand by itself, to not have just a whole lot of connections to it. I do have the connection where Sugar Valley is close, like it's driving distance from Blackwood, which Blackwood is kind of in the CCJ universe. I guess Blackwood is kind of the bustling, the very much a city vibe. And then we have Blakewood, which is different from Blackwood. Blakewood is the college town. That's where Blakewood State University is. That's where, everybody, if you went to BSU, like that's like the prestigious HBCU, whatever. And then we have Mahogany Heights, which is close to Blackwood. Blakewood is like out west or something. But Blackwood is very much a city vibe. Mahogany Heights is like a 10 or 15 minute, like it's like the suburb, I guess, even though it's very much like a neighborhood. I don't really know how to. It makes a lot of sense in my head. I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense when I'm when I'm describing it. But because of the proximity of Blackwood to Mahogany Heights, like I said, even though I tried to make it where not a lot of stuff in Sugar Valley, like as far as the characters and stuff went, tried to make it where not a lot of their stuff connected to other books. I ended up connecting other books to Sugar Valley. Like if you've read in tandem, when Brittany and Raphael, when they go on their long bike trip together, they come and visit Sugar Valley, and they even run into Regina, and they run into Kyle, and they have dinner a couple of times at Maple, and there's this very kind of tense this very kind of relationship changing moment that happens between them when they're there in Sugar Valley. And then we have Morgan, who is one of like the auxiliary characters. He's not even a side. He's not. I wouldn't even call him. Well, I guess I could call him a secondary character, but he's definitely an auxiliary character in the book. He is presented as kind of a foil, I guess, to Ben. Ben. I'm thinking about the way that he does not like Morgan. He does not like Morgan at all. But Morgan, um, if you've read the Love Sisters books, then you remember, you may or may not remember a conversation between Levi and Morgan, because Morgan is an artist, Levi is an artist, they're friends. And so there is that connection there. I'm trying to think of what other connections I put that I've connected back to Sugar Valley, not necessarily that were already there, but connections that I made back to Sugar Valley. Those are the only ones that I can think of off the top of my head that aren't. There's a few more in the book that I'm working on now, but we're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one right now. But yeah, I really enjoyed working on this project, and the ending. The ending. I heard a lot about this ending. But this is actually one of my favorite endings that I've ever done in a book. When I do get complaints about my work, most often the complaint is that, it feels unfinished, and I despise I despise that complaint, because I don't put out unfinished books. I may put out a book that does not end in a very neat package, and this book is no exception, because a lot of times I'm not writing characters where by the time I'm done telling the parts of their story that they have offered for me to tell, it's not neat. And Kyle and Ben are really no exception to that. Kyle is still grieving at the end of this book. It's been a while since she has gone through, through her kind of the point of her trauma, but she's still grieving, and she's still kind of opening herself up to even accepting something different than what she had before, something different from the life that she had before. That's actually one of the quotes from one of the promos on this book. Live a life that you haven't lived before, and she's really just kind of just coming into a place of accepting of that. And maybe if this book went on for another 50 or another 100,000 words, and then maybe we would have seen that point, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. I ended the book when they told me they were ready to end the book, and then their story goes on. And we do still see some of Ben and Kyle in the point of it all, which is book 2 in the Sugar Valley series, because Ben and Luke and Eva are both actually introduced here. And so, we do get to see some more of Ben and Kyle, because Ben and Luke are friends, and Kyle and Eva are going to become friends. And so and Eva ends up at the clinic. Eva ends up at the clinic as well. And so we do get to see some of them again. So one of the main things that I was really interested in when I wrote this book was I wanted to do a small town romance. I wanted to do something that absolutely felt very much like Hallmark or Lifetime, but with Black folks. That was very much high on my interest. And so I had a lot of fun creating the setting for Sugar Valley, and even just the research, being able to look at these really beautiful images and just building it out in my head. What does the town look like? What do the lodges look like? The cabins that they're staying in, what does that look like? What the trails and all of that. If you don't know, I actually live in Arkansas, and so I'm very familiar with the forest and wooded areas and hiking. I actually haven't been hiking in Arkansas in a while. Actually, now that I think about it, I've been hiking in other places, but not Arkansas in a while. But that's crazy. Like my most recent times hiking, like I've hiked in Puerto Rico and I've hiked in Hawaii and I've hiked in some in some other places, but I haven't hiked in Arkansas in a long time. I have to fix that. But anyway, like I said, I this is what I grew up around. It's always I live in the natural state, and so it was very fun for me to be able to weave a whole lot of that into the setting for this. And I think I did a good job. I think I did a good job. Like when I flip back through this and I read certain scenes, to make sure that I'm setting things up properly and all of that, it really does still have that feeling. And so if you have not read the culmination of everything yet, and you are looking for a small town romance following my heroine is a doctor. Kyle is actually a doctor, and Ben is like a park ranger. Ben is like a mean park ranger slash firefighter or volunteer firefighter slash whatever else the town needs him to do, because it's a small town and that's how it goes. People tend to have multiple responsibilities and stuff. And so I really had a lot of fun with this. And so again, if you're looking for something to add to your TBR and you are wanting to stick with me, thank you. I think that this would be a great addition. So that was Backlist for this one. The next video that I do talking about books will probably be my pre-release thoughts for The Point of It All, but that won't be for another couple of days because the book ain't finished. So how about I get my behind off of YouTube and get that done?